And then down low, my bundle of grain stood up. And then they all gathered around and went low. At first, he had to stand up so that his family could gather around. You see, some of you out here, you got to be the one in your family to stand up. Amen. Your family's been battling poverty for so long, but you got to be the one to stand up and walk in the favor of God that they may gather around and see his goodness. Your family's been battling alcohol for years. Granddad was an alcoholic. His great-granddad was an alcoholic. You got to be the one to stand up so that they can all gather around and see his goodness. See, your family's been playing church for years, where they've been going to church for decade after decade. Nobody's really been fired up for God, but maybe you got to be the one to stand up and take this thing seriously so that they all gather around and see the goodness in you. We're a chosen people at Victory Community Church. We're some dogs at Victory Community Church. God placed us here not to sit, but to stand up so that our families may gather around. And I look at my father, who I don't come from a long list of preachers. My great-granddad was not a preacher. My grandfather was not a preacher. And I looked at my dad as one that had to stand up so that his sons and their wives and their children could gather around and see the goodness of God and see that there's favor in God, that there's abundance in God, that there's prosperity in God. And yeah, the afflictions of the righteous are many, but my God sees me through them all. And now I today stand up and I fight so that my son may one day be able to gather around and say, Daddy, when's it going to be my turn to preach?